I know it's my job to explain anime to you, but someone explain Asobe Asabase to me. I got 12 minutes into episode 1, and the character designs made me want to gouge my eyes out with a fork, and the humor was so cold and empty I felt my soul leaking out. Any humor would do just fine, which is where High Score Girl comes in. It's set in the early 1990s where game consoles at home was starting to become a common thing, but still not expected in every household. Haru is a failure in school, so he heads off to the arcade where he can experience the one thing he's good at, gaming. Here he meets Ono. She doesn't say a word, but is better at games than him. An odd friendship blossoms between the two. At first I thought this was going to be a repeat of Karakai Jiaozu no Takagaki's son, just replace the pranks with video games. Thankfully, I was wrong. This is more centered around each of the individuals learning more about each other. Ono is from a strict rich family, often left with a tutor that does nothing but nag, nag, nag. Arcades are her sole means of escape. I wasn't impressed at first. It's the art. All characters either look like bad cartoons or bad CG, but still a step up from Asobe Asabase, and the humor wasn't working on me either, but still better than Asobe Asabase. What eventually grabbed me was the character development of Ono. I mentioned she doesn't talk at all, but they bring her to life with Haru's observations, her facial expressions, and her actions, such as when she feels the need to smack the crap out of him like a proper tsundere. I even found myself slightly emotional on episodes 3 and 8 or 9, or in the least I'm more invested in this bond than the lead friendship in Uma Museum. And with Ono absent on episode 4, I was surprised to find myself still curious. Their world is brought to life with explanations of the games they're playing. It's good to know what's going on, but sometimes they do go on with that a little longer than I'd like, and the mid-episode eye catch is a brief history lesson on games. At worst, it breaks my immersion by mentioning a smartphone or something that hasn't been invented yet, but I guess it's good for showcasing how far gaming has come. The whole thing is a simple matter, which can be good or bad depending on what you want. Followers of my Patreon know I've carried a simple matter with me for a long time, for reasons I'm not entirely sure of myself, but as an anime about gaming, I'm kind of impressed. I like how Haru carries characters in his heart, and they in turn serve as support. I think we all do something similar, actually, but it calls itself a romantic comedy too. As a romance, its attempt to charm me did not work until episodes 10 and 12, and even then it was only small sparks. Part of it is Ono's fault. If she's mute, her rich family needs to get her pen and paper so she can communicate, or if she's just not speaking, she's intentionally obstructing her own goals. But as I've said for a long time now, any romance is better than Netsu's Trap. As a comedy, most of its humor fell flat with me. I gave it 2 chuckles and a few smiles, but as I've said for a short time now, any comedy is better than Asobe Asabase.